Hey, this is Sarah Nolan with Life Upleveled Real Estate for Profit and Impact. And our next topic is about the essential due diligence steps for your next land development. These steps are going to totally change the outcome of your next development project. So pay attention here. The first is, and these are not necessarily in chronological order. If you're in Colorado, then number one will be likely your first step in finding the right property, because land is an extremely smart investment if it's the right land. So we're going to figure out what is the right land and then how to tweak our project to have the greatest probability of success. So number one is find out if there are water rights. Sometimes the listing agent is not educated on water rights, and the listing itself, the MLS listing, is not going to have all the information you need. So you want to reach out to or have your agent, have myself, reach out to the Division of Water in whatever location you're in and find out if there truly are water rights to the property, what those water rights are, what you're allowed to do with water on the property. Can you drill a well? Can you use the pond or the stream or the spring that's on the property? What can you use that for? There's a lot around the water rights, especially in a place like Colorado, or a more arid or desert location. Every state is different. Sometimes every county is different when it comes to water. So that's going to be a big portion of your research with your land, is find out what can you actually do on the property. And the water rights are often going to determine what you can put on the property, how many bedrooms you can have on the property, how many people are allowed to stay on the property for the day or even overnight. All of those things are going to go into like how many wells you need to have on the property, how big of a well, and what type of a well you can have. So you're going to want to talk to whatever that division of water is in your location to find out what you can currently do and what it would take. And a lot of this due diligence is not only finding out what is allowed, but what would it take to make your project be allowed. And sometimes it's a matter of talking to the right people or purchasing the rights to do those things, or going through an application or even a voting process to get your project approved. And this is a relationship game. I already have a lot of these relationships established, which is one of the things that, I really bring to the table with this. My colleagues really bring. I've got a vast network around the country who we all collaborate on these projects together to get the job done. And again, it's all about those connections and those relationships, because pretty much, you can do what you want to do. It's just a matter of who you know, where they are in getting into that right property. Number two is finding out what is the zoning code for that property currently. What does it take to change the zoning code? And what does it take to get a special use permit if that's going to be required for you to put your project on that land? Sometimes it's just too complicated. It's not worth the headache or the time or resources in order to mold that property zoning and regulations to fit your needs. Sometimes it's like, all right, let's just go back to the drawing board, figure something else out. Sometimes, it's such a special piece of land, and land is hard to come by these days. It's, they're not building new land. So sometimes you find the right one and you will do whatever it takes to make that property work for what you want. And sometimes it takes just tweaking your plans a little bit in order to make it all line up for that situation. And then the third thing is looking at the community, the specific community and municipality that this land resides in. You want to look at what are the goals, what are their short and long-term goals. Is it going to be, is it sustainability, economic development, affordability? How can you help the community and the municipality meet their goals? How can you help them to have better sustainability, better water conservation? How can you help them to grow their economy? How can you help them to provide more affordability and bring more people and create a better environment in that community? How can you become an asset to the community? So you got to build these relationships or work through your real estate team to build these relationships and get on the side of the people who are making these decisions for you and are helping to approve your things. How can you get on their side and create a win-win for everybody involved? That's going to totally change the game for your next project. If you can get the decision makers on the side of what you're doing, then you're going to have a lot more options going forward. And always coming back to how can I be an asset to the community? How can I be an asset to the land? How can I be an asset to the overall economy and the ecology? Like what can I do to make my presence on this land and in this community a positive thing for now and into the future? So these three items that I shared with you, this is potentially going to change everything for your next land development going forward. It might cause you to think a little bit differently, do make your decisions a little bit differently, do things in different order, and that's all fine. If you have any questions about any of this, let me know. You can reach out to me, send me a message, and I will look forward to talking with you soon and seeing what resources and connections I can bring to your project.